The tigress couldn't save her cub. Look who came to the rescue. On the very edge of a small village located deep within the jungles of South Asia, there lived a man named Liam. Tired of the noisy city life, he decided to settle in a secluded place, far from civilization. Every day, Liam ventured out to explore the wilderness surrounding his new home, relishing the tranquility and beauty of nature. One scorching summer afternoon, as sunlight pierced through the dense canopy of trees, he'd heard an unusual sound. It was a muffled cry, echoing from deep within the jungle, a haunting mix of panic and desperation that sent a shiver down his spine. Liam froze, straining to pinpoint the source of the distressing noise. The sound seemed to originate from behind an ancient, gnarled banyan tree near a swampy area. The cries grew louder and more urgent with each passing moment. Driven by curiosity, Liam set down his bag and moved toward the noise, his heart racing with anticipation. Pushing through the dense underbrush, the humid jungle air pressed heavily on him, and sharp branches tore at his clothes. Despite the obstacles, he pressed on, determined to uncover the source of the desperate cries. As Liam neared the banyan tree, the underbrush began to thin, and the cries grew sharper and more urgent. Pushing through the final layer of bushes, he stumbled upon a heart-wrenching sight. In a flooded hollow created by recent heavy rains, a young tiger cub was flailing desperately in the murky water, struggling to stay afloat. Its attempts to stay afloat were getting weaker by the second. The cub's eyes were wide with fear as it tried to keep its head above the surface of the muddy water. For a moment, Liam froze, assessing the situation. He knew that tigers were dangerous, especially when they were scared, but he also understood that if he didn't act, the cub would surely drown quickly, looking around for any sign of the cubs. Mother Liam saw no indication that she was nearby, deciding to act immediately. Liam cautiously approached the edge of the water. He took off his shoes and rolled up his sleeves, preparing to enter the muddy pond. His heart was racing as he stepped into the cold, slimy water, creating strong ripples with each step. The water was deeper than it looked, soaking Liam and chilling him. Yet he couldn't abandon the struggling cub. Speaking softly, he calmed the frightened animal and gently lifted it, surprised by how light it felt. Shivering from cold and fear, the little tiger clung to him. Liam held it against his chest for warmth as he made his way back to shore. Once on land, he set the cub down, wet, scared, but safe now that the danger had passed. Liam began to wonder where the cub's mother could be. Looking around, he noticed a faint glint of metal in the thick vegetation nearby. Cautiously approaching, Liam saw a horrifying sight. The mother tiger was caught in a cruel trap. Her hind leg was clamped between the iron jaws of a trap that was chained to a tree trunk. She had been struggling to free herself, but each movement seemed to cause her more pain. Her eyes were wide, and she felt panic and despair as she tried to reach her cub. Liam's heart ached at this sight. He finally understood why the tigress hadn't been able to save her cub. She herself was trapped, unable to help. Now her desperate growls were full of anxiety and pain. Liam knew he needed to act quickly. He couldn't leave the tigress in such a state, but freeing a wild and wounded predator was extremely dangerous. He began to examine the trap and the lock, thinking of how to free the tigress without causing her more suffering. But before he could take any action, Liam heard the crunch of dry leaves and the low murmurs of approaching voices. His heart froze as he realized someone was coming straight toward them. It was likely the people who had set the trap. Liam quickly scanned the area, looking for a place to hide with the cub. Knowing the danger of encountering strangers in such a situation, Liam acted quickly. He carefully placed the cub in thick bushes, ensuring it was hidden, then took a concealed position to observe. Soon, two men in dirty, worn clothes emerged from the trees, rifles slung over their shoulders, carrying traps and chains. Speaking quietly, they were unaware of Liam's presence. As they neared the trapped tigress, one pointed and said, "Check that tigress. A pelt like that could fetch a good price." Anger surged within Liam as he realized they were poachers. Alone, unarmed, and facing dangerous, armed men, he felt the weight of the situation pressing on him. While Liam frantically considered his options, the poachers drew closer to the tigress. She growled and tried to lunge at them, but the chain held her firmly. One of the men took out a set of keys, apparently to unlock the trap. At that moment, Liam realized he had a chance. If he could distract the poachers, he might be able to free the tigress. Liam picked up a small rock and threw it into the bushes away from the cub's hiding spot. The noise caught the poacher's attention. "What was that?" one whispered. "Go check it out," the other replied, nodding toward the sound. As one poacher moved to investigate, Liam seized his chance. He quietly approached the abandoned equipment and grabbed a heavy wrench, hoping it could free the tigress. Heart pounding, he moved swiftly but cautiously toward the trapped animal, knowing he had only moments before the poachers returned. The animal looked at him warily but seemed to sense that this man was trying to help her. Liam spoke in a quiet, calming voice as he worked on the trap's lock. "Easy, girl. I'm here to help. Just hold on a bit longer." Finally, after a few tense moments, the lock gave way. The trap opened and the tigress was free. For a moment, the tigress stood still as if unable to believe she was free. Limping slightly, she took a few cautious steps, her eyes fixed on Liam. Just then, the poachers returned. Seeing the tigress free and Liam holding the wrench, they froze in shock, but only for a second. One raised his rifle, snarling, "You idiot! Do you know how much that tiger is worth?" Liam raised his hands slowly, trying to defuse the situation. "Listen, let's just walk away. No one got hurt, and we can all leave." But the poachers, furious, moved closer. "You ruined our hunt," one growled. "Now you'll pay for it." Unarmed and outnumbered, Liam braced for the worst. Just as he closed his eyes, a deafening roar shattered the tension. The tigress, who everyone thought had left, leaped between Liam and the poachers, her powerful presence halting them in their tracks. Her eyes blazed with fury as she took a defensive stance in front of the man who had just freed her. The poachers backed away in terror. They hadn't expected a wounded animal to defend a human. The tigress took a threatening step forward, and that was enough. The poachers turned and ran, stumbling and falling in their rush to get away from the angry predator. As their footsteps faded, the tigress paused and turned to Liam. Their eyes met, and in that brief moment, an unspoken understanding passed between them. With a slight tilt of her head, almost as if in gratitude, she slowly moved toward the bushes where her cub was hidden. Liam remained motionless, watching as the tigress gently nudged her cub, encouraging it to follow her. Together, they vanished into the depths of the jungle, leaving Liam alone with his thoughts. The experience left a profound mark on him. He realized that despite his longing for solitude, he could not turn a blind eye to the challenges facing the wild world around him. From that moment on, Liam became more mindful of his surroundings, determined to balance his desire for solitude with a commitment to protecting the nature he had grown to love. Liam began connecting more with the villagers and spending extended hours in the jungle, attentively observing nature and immersing himself in the forest sounds, always prepared to lend a hand when needed. What an incredible story! If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so please leave a comment below. See you in the next video.